overwhelming experience trying to navigate another person's life, and you have no idea what you're doing. That is overwhelming.
Raising a child shouldn't be something you have to survive. It shouldn't be something that they have to survive.
Oftentimes people think that caregiving consists of meeting practical needs, right? Food, those type of things. And while that is important, there's also the other aspect, emotional, social, those type of needs.
One of the things that a good friend of mine who is a geriatric care manager said to me at the beginning of this journey was that what I should prepare for is not what I think will happen, but what could happen.
If you're a caregiver, you're an advocate because you're advocating for the person that you're helping.
It's definitely very personal for me. I think for most people that are in this walk of life, it has to be personal.
I took early retirement from the state of North Carolina to move back to my hometown so that I could help my aging parents.
I actually had to step down from work and dedicate my entire life to advocate for her and for my son. So what that meant for our family is that we have to change our entire dynamics.
As I think about what other caregivers are going through, it's just really important that people don't feel alone. And so in my work now, that's the number one thing I tell them is you're not alone.
You know that things are, especially if it's a progressive illness, things are going to get worse. If you can start getting your resources in line for those things that might be happening, even if they never do, then you can try to be a little bit more prepared for those next steps and not have it be a crisis situation.
These individuals are amazing that we're caring for. They deserve the absolute best. They deserve people that understand them. They deserve for their caregivers to have the opportunity to get the education that they need to help them understand and navigate the world in the way that they see and experience it. When they say that it is the equivalent of combat stress, I don't take that statement lightly. That is heavy trauma. But having lived it, oh, it absolutely does.
It could prove to be very stressful at that time. And even now, it can be very stressful to try to meet all of those needs.
Being the person who's in that high stress environment all the time has an effect on the other people in your life.
Myself having two now adult children that went through their little brother being in crisis, they are having to heal. I had to heal.
Caregiving created a situation where I needed to leave employment several years before I would have otherwise.
We have a bigger task at hand than ourselves. And that's where caregivers always tend to put yourself on the back burner because you have other things with other people in your lives that are more important than you.
For me, advocacy means using our voice to speak up for individuals who don't have a voice or don't have the opportunity to speak up for themselves.
No, this was not what I had chosen, but it's what I was chosen to do, which fast forward has turned me into advocating for people who can't advocate for themselves.
There are other needs that come about when you're a caregiver that sometimes aren't recognized.
I wish that state legislators would learn that the importance of speaking with families with lived experience will be data that is you can't imagine the data that comes from lived experiences.
And if you're thinking of it from a policy standpoint or a policymaker standpoint, hearing one story is powerful, but I would imagine they often feel helpless. I can't help you as one person. But when you hear many stories put together that have a common thread or have similar issues that they're dealing with, you might be able to come up with a solution that can help them.
That shouldn't be something that we have to fight and beg for. That's especially when there's already a system in place. It's there. We don't have to build it. We just need to fund it. That's all.
Partner with small grassroots nonprofits and your faith-based organizations, because that is where you will find the people. It's simple things when you are experiencing any type of insecurity. The little simple things are the things that help and mean the most.
I'm incredibly grateful that we had the ability to do telehealth. And so I'm a huge fan of that. And that really helped our experience.
A simple solution in my mind is to add dental insurance to Medicare benefits so that people can at least have a 6-month checkup on their teeth, try to get some corrections done before they get out of control.
When I hear from a representative of an organization that they don't specifically think about LGBTQ issues, but they treat everyone fairly or they treat everyone the same, what that tells me is they have not thought about our issues.
Without the innovations waiver, you have far more individuals in crisis. You have far more DSS interventions for which we already don't have room for placements. You already have more families that become broken, more mental health crisis.
There are 20 to 40 plus million unpaid caregivers in the United States today.
Unpaid, informal, whatever you want to call them, caregivers. And we have a direct care workforce shortage right now. And you put those two things together and you think if you could just find a way to pay more caregivers for the work they're already providing.
Addressing those policies that could be more friendly towards caregivers and their families in regards to access to supports.
Offering some benefits that not only make life better, the quality of life better for the people who get those benefits, but their family members as well.
Having those respite supports, that community living supports, is a godsend that can make such a difference in a family.
That's something that I think in a systemic way, there should be some support for families that are going through difficult, challenging times with a child that has intensive healthcare needs and they really cannot be out there being part of the workforce.
Without these supports in place, it is incredibly difficult, and it puts a lot of stress on families. It puts a lot of stress on those individuals.
Increased pay for direct support professionals, increased training for direct support professionals, so that not only there's an increase in quantity of service providers, but quality service providers that we can entrust our loved ones with.
Our direct care workforce is not paid well. They don't have a lot of career advancement opportunities.
Having that direct care staff paid at a living wage so that as they're caring for our family, they can take care of themselves, because it is a very emotionally intensive job that they do. And it is critical that they're able to maintain their own mental health and their own well-being, and they're not struggling to make ends meet.
Ultimately, family caregiving, caregiving is a family issue until it's not, until you can't do it anymore.
One of the things that I learned a long time ago is that I need to stay in my wheelhouse and support people who can do things that I can't do.
I just want to say I appreciate how the caregiver role is brought to the forefront. I appreciate that, as it was very liberating and affirming for me.
It makes me more aware that, number one, I'm not alone in the problems that I face as a caregiver. Number two, there are people out there who are doing very serious work trying to affect change, positive change, for people who are caregivers.
Sometimes we struggle, and that's okay, but being able to get back up and keep trying every day is something that's so commendable. Even if you had to leave your job to do it, even if you didn't get to finish college or live all of those dreams the way that you thought that you would, being in the caregiver role is still so largely important and also under-recognized.
It's crucial and that most families keep on the advocacy journey, because eventually I think if we all get together, we will create the change that's needed.
We have many voices and we have many issues. Pulling those things together and making one mighty voice that can be heard above the noise is just incredible.
We all have something in common, and through the Caregiver Project, it really brought a lot of those things to life. And I think that gathering together as a group and figuring out what works and doesn't work has been such a great experience. And I would love to, continue that even after the group ends.